The Holy Bible, Old Testament, Exodus, chapter 111. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel, who came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. 1-2 Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. 1-3 Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. 1-4 Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. 1-5 And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, and Joseph was in Egypt already. 1-6 And Joseph died, and all his brothers, and all that generation. 1-7 And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. 1-8 Now there arose a new king over Egypt, who knew not Joseph. 1-9 And he said to his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. 1-10 Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass, that, when there falls out any war, they also join themselves to our enemies, and fight against us, and get themselves up out of the land. 1-11 Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh store cities, Pithom and Ramses. 1-12 But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied, and the more they spread abroad. And the Egyptians were grieved because of the children of Israel. 1-13 And they made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. 1-14 And they made their lives bitter with hard service, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, all their service, in which they made them serve with rigor. 1-15 And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. 1-16 And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the birth stool, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. 1-17 But the midwives feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. 1-18 And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said to them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the male children alive? 1-19 And the midwives said to Pharaoh, Because their Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered before the midwife is come to them. 1-20 And God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied, and grew very mighty. 1-21 And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them households. 1-22 And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Chapter 2:1 And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. 2:2 And the woman conceived, and bore a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. 2:3 And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of papyrus reeds, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and she put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's brink. 2:4 And his sister stood afar off, to find out what would be done to him. 2:5 And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside, and she saw the ark among the reeds, and sent her handmaid to fetch it. 2:6 And she opened it, and saw the child, and, behold, the baby cried. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. 2:7 Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call for you a nurse of the Hebrew women, so she may nurse the child for you? 2:8 And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maiden went and called the child's mother. 2:9 And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages. And the woman took the child, and nursed it. 2:10 And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and said, Because I drew him out of the water. 2:11 And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown up, that he went out to his brethren, and looked on their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, one of his brethren. 2:12 And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no one, he struck down the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. 2:13 And he went out the second day, and, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews were striving together, and he said to him that did the wrong, Why do you strike your fellow? 2:14 And he said, Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me, as you killed the Egyptian? And Moses feared, and said, Surely the thing is known. 2:15 Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. 2:16 Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. 2:17 And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. 2:18 And when they came to Reuel their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? 2:19 And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and moreover he drew water for us, and watered the flock. 2:20 And he said to his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. 2:21 And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. 2:22 And she bore a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. 2:23 And it came to pass in the course of those many days, that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up to God by reason of the bondage. 2:24 And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. 2:25 And God saw the children of Israel, and God took knowledge of them. Chapter 3:1 Now Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the wilderness, and came to the mountain of God, to Horeb. 3:2 And the angel of Yahweh appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and, behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. 3:3 And Moses said, I will turn aside now, and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. 3:4 And when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, God called to him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. 3:5 And he said, Draw not near to here, put off your shoes from off your feet, for the place whereon you stand is holy ground. 3:6 Moreover he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. 3:7 And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people that are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. 3:8 And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good land and a large, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. 3:9 And now, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come to me, moreover I have seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppress them. 3:10 Come now therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people the children of Israel out of Egypt. 3:11 And Moses said to God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? 3:12 And he said, Certainly I will be with you, and this shall be the token to you, that I have sent you. When you have brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. 3:13 And Moses said to God, Behold, when I come to the children of Israel, and shall say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? 3:14 And God said to Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. 3:15 And God said moreover to Moses, Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. 3:16 Go, and gather the elders of Israel together, and say to them, Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, has appeared to me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. 3:17 And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. 3:18 And they shall hearken to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt, and ye shall say to him, Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us, and now let us go, we pray you, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh our God. 3:19 And I know that the king of Egypt will not give you leave to go, no, not by a mighty hand. 3:20 And I will put forth my hand, and strike Egypt with all my wonders which I will do in the midst of it, and after that he will let you go. 3:21 And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass, that, when ye go, ye shall not go empty. 3:22 But every woman shall ask of her neighbor, and of her that sojourns in her house, jewels of silver, and jewels of gold, and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons, and upon your daughters, and ye shall despoil the Egyptians. Chapter 4:1 And Moses answered and said, But, behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken to my voice, for they will say, Yahweh has not appeared to you. 4:2 And Yahweh said to him, What is that in your hand? And he said, A rod. 4:3 And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. 4:4 And Yahweh said to Moses, Put forth your hand, and take it by the tail, and he put forth his hand, and laid hold of it, and it became a rod in his hand. 4:5 That they may believe that Yahweh, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. 4:6 And Yahweh said furthermore to him, Put now your hand into your bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous, as white as snow. 4:7 And he said, Put your hand into your bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and when he took it out of his bosom, behold, it was turned back like his other flesh. 4:8 And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe you, nor listen to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. 4:9 And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe even these 2 signs, nor listen to your voice, that you shall take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which you take out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. 4:10 And Moses said to Yahweh, O Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech, and of a slow tongue. 4:11 And Yahweh said to him, Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes a man mute, or deaf, or seeing, or blind? Is it not I, Yahweh? 4:12 Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth, and teach you what you shall speak. 4:13 And he said, O Lord, send, I pray you, by the hand of him whom you will send. 4:14 And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Moses, and he said, Is there not Aaron your brother the Levite? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he is coming forth to meet you, and when he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. 4:15 And you shall speak to him, and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. 4:16 And he shall be your spokesman to the people, and it shall come to pass, that he shall be to you a mouth, and you shall be to him as God. 4:17 And you shall take in your hand this rod, with which you shall do the signs. 4:18 And Moses went and returned to Jethro his father-in-law, and said to him, Let me go, I pray you, and return to my brethren that are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. 4:19 And Yahweh said to Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead that sought your life. 4:20 And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon a donkey, And he returned to the land of Egypt, and Moses took the rod of God in his hand. 4:21 And Yahweh said to Moses, When you go back into Egypt, see that you do before Pharaoh all the wonders which I have put in your hand, but I will harden his heart, and he will not let the people go. 4:22 And you shall say to Pharaoh, Thus says Yahweh, Israel is my son, my firstborn. 4:23 And I have said to you, Let my son go, that he may serve me, and you have refused to let him go. Behold, I will slay your son, your firstborn. 4:24 And it came to pass on the way at the lodging place, that Yahweh met him, and sought to kill him. 4:25 Then Zipporah took a flint, and cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet, and she said, A bloody husband you surely are to me. 4:26 Therefore Yahweh left him alone. Then she said, A bloody husband are you, because of the circumcision. 4:27 And Yahweh said to Aaron, Go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went, and met him in the mountain of God, and kissed him. 4:28 And Moses told Aaron all the words of Yahweh with which he had sent him, and all the signs with which he had charged him. 4:29 And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. 4:30 And Aaron spoke all the words which Yahweh had spoken to Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. 4:31 And the people believed, and when they heard that Yahweh had visited the children of Israel, and that he had seen their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. Chapter 5:1 And afterward Moses and Aaron came, and said to Pharaoh, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness. 5:2 And Pharaoh said, Who is Yahweh, that I should listen to his voice to let Israel go? I know not Yahweh, and moreover I will not let Israel go. 5:3 And they said, The God of the Hebrews has met with us, let us go, we pray you, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice to Yahweh our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence, on with the sword. 5:4 And the king of Egypt said to them, Why do ye, Moses and Aaron, release the people from their tasks? Get yourselves to your burdens. 5:5 And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land are now many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. 5:6 And the same day Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people, and their officers, saying, 5:7 You shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as up until now. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. 5:8 And the number of the bricks, which they did make until now, ye shall lay upon them, ye shall not diminish anything about it, for they are lazy, that is why they are crying, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. 5:9 Let heavier work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard lying words. 5:10 And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spoke to the people, saying, Thus says Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. 5:11 Go yourselves, get yourselves straw where ye can find it, for nothing of your work shall be diminished. 5:12 So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. 5:13 And the taskmasters were urgent, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. 5:14 And the officers of the children of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten, and demanded, Why have ye not fulfilled your task both yesterday and today, in making brick as previously? 5:15 Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried to Pharaoh, saying, Why are you dealing with your servants in this way? 5:16 There is no straw given to your servants, and they say to us, Make brick, and, behold, your servants are beaten, but the fault is in your own people. 5:17 But he said, You are lazy, ye are lazy, that is why ye say, Let us go and sacrifice to Yahweh. 5:18 Go therefore now, and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the number of bricks. 5:19 And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in an evil situation, when it was said, You shall not diminish anything from your bricks, your daily tasks. 5:20 And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way, as they came forth from Pharaoh. 5:21 And they said to them, Yahweh look upon you, and judge, because ye have made our Saviour to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. 5:22 And Moses returned to Yahweh, and said, Lord, why have you dealt ill with this people? Why is it that you have sent me? 5:23 For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has dealt ill with this people, neither have you delivered your people at all. Chapter 6:1 And Yahweh said to Moses, Now shall you see what I will do to Pharaoh, for by a strong hand shall he let them go, and by a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. 6:2 And God spoke to Moses, and said to him, I am Yahweh. 6:3 And I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, as God Almighty, but by my name Yahweh I was not known to them. 6:4 And I have also established my covenant with them, to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their sojournings, in which they sojourned. 6:5 And moreover I have heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. 6:6 Wherefore say to the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm, and with great judgments. 6:7 And I will take you to myself for a people, and I will be to you a God, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh your God, who brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. 6:8 And I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it you for a heritage. I am Yahweh. 6:9 And Moses spoke so to the children of Israel, but they did not listen to Moses for anguish of spirit and because of cruel bondage. 6:10 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 6:11 Go in, speak to Pharaoh king of Egypt, that he let the children of Israel go out of his land. 6:12 And Moses spoke before Yahweh, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not listened to me, how then shall Pharaoh listen to me, I who am of uncircumcised lips? 6:13 And Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, and gave them a charge for the children of Israel, and for Pharaoh king of Egypt, to bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. 6:14 These are the heads of their fathers' houses. The sons of Reuben the firstborn of Israel, Hanok, and Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These are the families of Reuben. 6:15 And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel, and Jamin, and Ohad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul the son of a Canaanitish woman. These are the families of Simeon. 6:16 And these are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari, and the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. 6:17 The sons of Gershon, Libni and Shimei, according to their families. 6:18 And the sons of Kohath, Amram, and Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. 6:19 And the sons of Merari, Mali and Mushi. These are the families of the Levites according to their generations. 6:20 And Amram took him Jochebed his father's sister to wife, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. 6:21 And the sons of Issachar, and Nepheg, and Zichri. 6:22 And the sons of Uzziel, Mishael, and Elzaphan, and Sithri. 6:23 And Aaron took him Elishba, the daughter of Amminadab, the sister of Nahshon, to wife, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Itamar. 6:24 And the sons of Cruasah, and Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These are the families of the Korahites. 6:25 And Eleazar, Aaron's son, took him one of the daughters of Putiel to wife, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites according to their families. 6:26 These are that Aaron and Moses, to whom Yahweh said, Bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their hosts. 6:27 These are they that spoke to Pharaoh king of Egypt, to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. These are that Moses and Aaron. 6:28 And it came to pass on the day when Yahweh spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt. 6:29 That Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, I am Yahweh, speak to Pharaoh king of Egypt all that I speak to you. 6:30 And Moses said before Yahweh, Behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh hearken to me? Chapter 7:7-1 And Yahweh said to Moses, See, I have made you as God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother shall be your prophet. 7:2 You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh, that he must let the children of Israel go out of his land. 7:3 And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. 7:4 But Pharaoh will not listen to you, and then I will lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth my hosts, my people the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt, by great judgments. 7:5 And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt, and bring out the children of Israel from among them. 7:6 And Moses and Aaron did so, as Yahweh commanded them, that they did. 7:7 And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spoke to Pharaoh. 7:8 And Yahweh spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, 7:9 When Pharaoh shall speak to you, saying, Show a miracle, then you shall say to Aaron, Take your rod, and cast it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a serpent. 7:10 And Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh, and they did so, as Yahweh had commanded, and Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. 7:11 Then Pharaoh also called for the wise men and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, performed in like manner with their enchantments. 7:12 For every man of them cast down his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. 7:13 Yet Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. 7:14 And Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is stubborn, he refuses to let the people go. 7:15 Get you to Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goes out to the water, and you shall stand by the river's brink to meet him, and the rod which was turned to a serpent you shall take in your hand. 7:16 And you shall say to him, Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to you, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness, and, behold, so far you have not listened. 7:17 Thus says Yahweh, In this you shall know that I am Yahweh. Behold, I will strike with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. 7:18 And the fish that are in the river shall die, and the river shall become foul, and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink water from the river. 7:19 And Yahweh said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Take your rod, and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, over their streams, and over their pools, and over all their ponds of water, that they may become blood, and there shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. 7:20 And Moses and Aaron did so, as Yahweh commanded, and he lifted up the rod, and struck the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. 7:21 And the fish that were in the river died, and the river became foul, and the Egyptians could not drink water from the river, and the blood was throughout all the land of Egypt. 7:22 And the magicians of Egypt did in like manner with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not to them, as Yahweh had spoken. 7:23 And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he lay even this to heart. 7:24 And all the Egyptians dug round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. 7:25 And 7 days were fulfilled, after that Yahweh had smitten the river. Chapter 8:1 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go into Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus says Yahweh, Let my people go, that they may serve me. 8:2 And if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will strike all your territory with frogs. 8:3 And the river shall swarm with frogs, which shall go up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, and upon your bed, and into the house of your servants, and upon your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. 8:4 And the frogs shall come up both upon you, and upon your people, and upon all your servants. 8:5 And Yahweh said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch forth your hand with your rod over the rivers, over the streams, and over the pools, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. 8:6 And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up, and covered the land of Egypt. 8:7 And the magicians did in like manner with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. 8:8 Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and said, Entreat Yahweh, that he take away the frogs from me, and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to Yahweh. 8:9 And Moses said to Pharaoh, Have you this glory over me? Against what time shall I entreat for you, and for your servants, and for your people, that the frogs be destroyed from you and your houses, and remain in the river only? 8:10 And he said, Against tomorrow. And he said, Be it according to your word, that you may know that there is none like to Yahweh our God. 8:11 And the frogs shall depart from you, and from your houses, and from your servants, and from your people, they shall remain in the river only. 8:12 And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried to Yahweh concerning the frogs which he had brought upon Pharaoh. 8:13 And Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courts, and out of the fields. 8:14 And they gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. 8:15 But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not to them, as Yahweh had spoken. 8:16 And Yahweh said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your rod, and strike the dust of the earth, that is may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. 8:17 And they did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and struck the dust of the earth, and there were lice upon man, and upon beast. All the dust of the earth became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. 8:18 And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not, and there were lice upon man, and upon beast. 8:19 Then the magicians said to Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not to them, as Yahweh had spoken. 8:20 And Yahweh said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he comes forth to the water, and say to him, Thus says Yahweh, Let my people go, that they may serve me. 8:21 Else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon you, and upon thy servants, and upon your people, and into your houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. 8:22 And I will set apart in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end you may know that I am Yahweh in the midst of the earth. 8:23 And I will put a division between my people and your people, by tomorrow shall this sign be. 8:24 And Yahweh did so, and there came grievous swarms of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and in all the land of Egypt the land was corrupted by reason of the swarms of flies. 8:25 And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron, and said, Go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land. 8:26 And Moses said, It is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to Yahweh our God. Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us? 8:27 We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice to Yahweh our God, as he shall command us. 8:28 And Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that ye may sacrifice to Yahweh your God in the wilderness, only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me. 8:29 And Moses said, Behold, I go out from you, and I will entreat Yahweh that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. Tomorrow only let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting the people go to sacrifice to Yahweh. 8:30 And Moses went out from Pharaoh, and entreated Yahweh. 8:31 And Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people, there remained not one. 8:32 And Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also, and he did not let the people go. Chapter 9:9-1 Then Yahweh said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh, and tell him, Thus says Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. 9:2 For if you refuse to let them go, and will hold them still. 9:3 Behold, the hand of Yahweh is upon your cattle which are in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the herds, and upon the flocks there shall be a very grievous murrain. 9:4 And Yahweh shall make a distinction between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. 9:5 And Yahweh appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow Yahweh shall do this thing in the land. 9:6 And Yahweh did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. 9:7 And Pharaoh sent, and, behold, there was not so much as one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was stubborn, and he did not let the people go. 9:8 And Yahweh said to Moses and to Aaron, Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. 9:9 And it shall become small dust over all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with sores upon man and upon beast, throughout all the land of Egypt. 9:10 And they took ashes of the furnace, and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with sores upon man and upon beast. 9:11 And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were upon the magicians, and upon all the Egyptians. 9:12 And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not to them, as Yahweh had spoken to Moses. 9:13 And Yahweh said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus says Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. 9:14 For I will this time send all my plagues upon your heart, and upon your servants, and upon your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth. 9:15 For now I had put forth my hand, and smitten you and your people with pestilence, and you had been cut off from the earth. 9:16 But in very deed for this cause have I made you to stand, to show you my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. 9:17 You are still exalting yourself against my people, that you will not let them go. 9:18 Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Egypt since the day it was founded even until now. 9:19 Now therefore send, hasten in your cattle and all that you have in the field, for every man and beast that shall be found in the field, and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. 9:20 He that feared the word of Yahweh among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. 9:21 And he that regarded not the word of Yahweh left his servants and his cattle in the field. 9:22 And Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch forth your hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man, and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field, throughout the land of Egypt. 9:23 And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and fire and down to the earth, and Yahweh rained hail upon the land of Egypt. 9:24 So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as had not been in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. 9:25 And the hail struck throughout all the land of Egypt all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail struck every herb of the field, and broke every tree of the field. 9:26 Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. 9:27 And Pharaoh sent, and called for Moses and Aaron, and said to them, I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. 9:28 Entreat Yahweh, for there has been enough of these mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. 9:29 And Moses said to him, As soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands to Yahweh, the thunders shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that you may know that the earth is Yahweh's. 9:30 But as for you and your servants, I know that ye will not yet fear Yahweh God. 9:31 And the flax and the barley were smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in bloom. 9:32 But the wheat and the spelt were not smitten, for they were not grown up. 9:33 And Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread abroad his hands to Yahweh, and the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. 9:34 And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more, and hardened his heart, he and his servants. 9:35 And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the children of Israel go, as Yahweh had spoken by Moses. Chapter 10:1 And Yahweh said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, that I may show these my signs in the midst of them. 10:2 And that you may tell in the ears of your son, and of your son's son, what things I have wrought upon Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know that I am Yahweh. 10:3 And Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh, and said to him, Thus says Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. 10:4 Else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring locusts into your border. 10:5 And they shall cover the face of the earth, so that one shall not be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which grows for you out of the field. 10:6 And your houses shall be filled, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, as neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth to this day. And he turned, and went out from Pharaoh. 10:7 And Pharaoh's servants said to him, How long shall this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their God. Do you not yet know that Egypt is destroyed? 10:8 And Moses and Aaron were brought again to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Yahweh your God. But who are they that shall go? 10:9 And Moses said, We will go with our young and with our old, with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds will we go, for we must hold a feast to Yahweh. 10:10 And he said to them, So be Yahweh with you, as I will let you go, and your little ones look to it, for evil is before you. 10:11 Not so, go now ye that are men, and serve Yahweh, for that is what ye desire. And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. 10:12 And Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail has left. 10:13 And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day, and all the night, and when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. 10:14 And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and rested in all the borders of Egypt, very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. 10:15 For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left, and there remained not any green thing, either tree or herb of the field, through all the land of Egypt. 10:16 Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against Yahweh your God, and against you. 10:17 Now therefore forgive, I pray you, my sin only this once, and entreat Yahweh your God, that he may take away from me this death only. 10:18 And he went out from Pharaoh, and entreated Yahweh. 10:19 And Yahweh turned an exceedingly strong west wind, which took up the locusts, and drove them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the border of Egypt. 10:20 But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go. 10:21 And Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. 10:22 And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. 10:23 They saw not one another, neither rose anyone from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. 10:24 And Pharaoh called to Moses, and said, Go ye, serve Yahweh, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed, let your little ones also go with you. 10:25 And Moses said, You must also give into our hand sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to Yahweh our God. 10:26 Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind, for thereof must we take to serve Yahweh our God, and we know not with what we must serve Yahweh, until we come there. 10:27 But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. 10:28 And Pharaoh said to him, Get you from me, take heed to yourself, see my face no more, for in the day you see my face you shall die. 10:29 And Moses said, You have spoken well, I will see your face again no more. Chapter 11:1 And Yahweh said to Moses, Yet one plague more will I bring upon Pharaoh, and upon Egypt, afterwards he will let you go from here. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out from here altogether. 11:2 Speak now in the ears of the people, and let them ask every man of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver, and jewels of gold. 11:3 And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. 11:4 And Moses said, Thus says Yahweh, About midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt. 11:5 And all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sits upon his throne, even to the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of cattle. 11:6 And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there has not been, nor shall be any more. 11:7 But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast, that ye may know how that Yahweh makes a distinction between the Egyptians and Israel. 11:8 And all these your servants shall come down to me, and bow down themselves to me, saying, Get you out, and all the people that follow you, and after that I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in hot anger. 11:9 And Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh will not hearken to you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. 11:10 And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Chapter 12:1 And Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, 12:2 This month shall be to you the beginning of months, it shall be the first month of the year to you. 12:3 Speak ye to all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to their fathers' houses, a lamb for a household. 12:4 And if the household be too little for a lamb, then shall he and his neighbor next to his house take one according to the number of the souls. According to every man's eating ye shall make your count for the lamb. 12:5 Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male a year old. Ye shall take it from the sheep, or from the goats. 12:6 And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at twilight. 7. 12:7 And they shall take of the blood, and put it on the 2 side posts and on the lintel, upon the houses in which they shall eat it. 12:8 And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, with bitter herbs they shall eat it. 12:9 Eat not of it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roast with fire, its head with its legs and with the inwards thereof. 12:10 And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, but that which remains of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. 12:11 And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. 12:12 For I will go through the land of Egypt in that night, and will strike down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am Yahweh. 12:13 And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and there shall no plague be upon you to destroy you. when I strike the land of Egypt. 12:14 And this day shall be to you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 12:15 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses, for whosoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. 12:16 And in the first day there shall be to you a holy convocation, and in the seventh day a holy convocation. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done by you. 12:17 And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your hosts out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. 12:18 In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread, until the 21st day of the month at evening. 12:19 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eats that which is leavened, that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he is a sojourner, or one that is born in the land. 12:20 You shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. 12:21 Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel, and said to them, Draw out, and take you lambs according to your families, and kill the Passover. 12:22 And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. 12:23 For Yahweh will pass through to strike down the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood upon the lintel, and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door, and will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to strike you. 12:24 And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever. 12:25 And it shall come to pass, when ye are come to the land which Yahweh will give you, according as he has promised, that ye shall keep this service. 12:26 And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say to you, What mean ye by this service? 12:27 That ye shall say, It is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he struck the Egyptians, and spared our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshipped. 12:28 And the children of Israel went and did so, as Yahweh had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. 12:29 And it came to pass at midnight, that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. 12:30 And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he, and all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. 12:31 And he called for Moses and Aaron by night, and said, Rise up, go forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh, as ye have said. 12:32 Take both your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also. 12:33 And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people, to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, We are all dead men. 12:34 And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. 12:35 And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they asked of the Egyptians jewels of silver, and jewels of gold, and raiment. 12:36 And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked, and they despoiled the Egyptians. 12:37 And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children. 12:38 And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks, and herds, even very much cattle. 12:39 And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt, and could not tarry. Neither had they prepared for themselves any victuals. 12:40 Now the time that the children of Israel dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. 1241 And it came to pass at the end of 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the hosts of Yahweh went out from the land of Egypt. 1242 It is a night to be much observed to Yahweh for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of Yahweh, to be much observed of all the children of Israel throughout their generations. 1243 And Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover, there shall no foreigner be allowed to eat of it. 1244 But every man's servant that is bought for money, when you have circumcised him, then shall he eat of it. 1245 A sojourner and a hired servant shall not eat of it. 1246 In one house shall it be eaten, you shall not carry forth anything of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone of it. 1247 All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. 1248 And when a stranger shall sojourn with you, and will keep the Passover to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land, but no uncircumcised person shall eat of it. 1249 The same law shall be for him that is home-born, and for the stranger that sojourns among you. 1250 This all the children of Israel did, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. 1251 And it came to pass that very same day, that Yahweh did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their multitudes. Chapter 13:1 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 13:2 Sanctify to me all the firstborn, whatsoever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast it is mine. 13:3 And Moses said to the people, Remember this day, in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand Yahweh brought you out. From this place there shall no leavened bread be eaten. 13:4 This day ye go forth in the month Abib. 13:5 And it shall be, when Yahweh shall bring you into the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this month. 13:6 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and in the seventh day shall be a feast to Yahweh. 13:7 Unleavened bread shall be eaten throughout the 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with you, neither shall there be leaven seen with you, in all your borders. 13:8 And you shall tell your son in that day, saying, It is because of that which Yahweh did for me when I came forth out of Egypt. 13:9 And it shall be for a sign to you upon your hand, and for a memorial between your eyes, that the law of Yahweh may be in your mouth, for with a strong hand has Yahweh brought you out of Egypt. 13:10 You shall therefore keep this ordinance in its season from year to year. 13:11 And it shall be, when Yahweh shall bring you into the land of the Canaanite, as he swore to you and to your fathers, and shall give it to you. 13:12 That you shall set apart to Yahweh all that opens the womb, and every firstling which you have that comes of a beast, the males shall be Yahweh's. 13:13 And every firstling of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb, and if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. And all the firstborn of man among your sons shall you redeem. 13:14 And it shall be, when your son asks you in time to come, saying, What is this? That you shall say to him, By strength of hand Yahweh brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage. 13:15 And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Yahweh slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man, and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to Yahweh all that opens the womb, being males, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. 13:16 And it shall be for a sign upon your hand, and for frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand Yahweh brought us forth out of Egypt. 13:17 And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not by the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, Lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt. 13:18 But God led the people about, by the way of the wilderness by the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up armed out of the land of Egypt. 13:19 And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had sternly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away from here with you. 13:20 And they took their journey from Succoth, and encamped in Et, in the edge of the wilderness. 13:21 And Yahweh went before them by day in a pillar of cloud, to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, to give them light, that they might go by day and by night. 13:22 The pillar of cloud by day, and the pillar of fire by night, departed not from before the people. Chapter 14:14 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 14:2 Tell the children of Israel, that they turn back and encamp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdal and the sea, before Baal-zephon over against it shall ye encamp by the sea. 14:3 And Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness has shut them in. 14:4 And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he shall follow after them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his host, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. 14:5 And it was told the king of Egypt that the people were fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was changed towards the people, and they said, What is this we have done, that we have let Israel go from serving us? 14:6 And he made ready his chariot, and took his people with him. 14:7 And he took 600 chosen chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over all of them. 14:8 And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, for the children of Israel went out with a high hand. 14:9 And the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea, beside Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-zephon. 14:10 And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and, behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they were sore afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh. 14:11 And they said to Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt thus with us, to bring us forth out of Egypt? 14:12 Is not this the word that we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it were better for us to serve the Egyptians, than that we should die in the wilderness. 14:13 And Moses said to the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. 14:14 Yahweh will fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. 14:15 And Yahweh said to Moses, Why are you crying to me? Tell the children of Israel that they should go forward. 14:16 And lift you up your rod, and stretch out your hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go into the midst of the sea on dry ground. 14:17 And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall go in after them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his host, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. 14:18 And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. 14:19 And the angel of God, who went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud removed from before them, and stood behind them. 14:20 And it came between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel, and there was the cloud and the darkness, yet gave it light by night, and the one came not near the other all the night. 14:21 And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all the night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. 14:22 And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand, and on their left. 14:23 And the Egyptians pursued, and went in after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. 14:24 And it came to pass in the morning watch, that Yahweh looked forth upon the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of cloud, and discomfited the host of the Egyptians. 14:25 And he took off their chariot wheels, and they drove them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh fights for them against their Egyptians. 14:26 And Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. 14:27 And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and Yahweh overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. 14:28 And the waters returned, and covered the chariots, and the horsemen, even all the host of Pharaoh that went in after them into the sea, there remained not so much as one of them. 14:29 But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand, and on their left. 14:30 Thus Yahweh saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. 14:31 And Israel saw the great work which Yahweh did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared Yahweh and they believed in Yahweh, and in his servant Moses. Chapter 15:1 Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song to Yahweh, and spoke, saying, I will sing to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider has he thrown into the sea. 15:2 Yahweh's my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. 15:3 Yahweh's a man of war, Yahweh's his name. 15:4 Pharaoh's chariots and his host has he cast into the sea, and his chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. 15:5 The deeps cover them, they went down into the depths like a stone. 15:6 Your right hand, O Yahweh, is glorious in power, your right hand, O Yahweh, dashes in pieces the enemy. 15:7 And in the greatness of your excellency you overthrow them that rise up against you. You send forth your wrath, it consumes them as stubble. 15:8 And with the blast of your nostrils the waters were piled up, the floods stood upright as a heap, the deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. 15:9 The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil, my desire shall be satisfied upon them, I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. 15:10 You blew with your wind, the sea covered them, they sank as lead in the mighty waters. 15:11 Who is like to you, O Yahweh, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? 15:12 You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. 15:13 You in your loving kindness have led the people that you have redeemed, you have guided them in your strength to your holy habitation. 15:14 The peoples have heard, they tremble, pangs have taken hold on the inhabitants of Philistia. 15:15 Then were the chiefs of Edom dismayed, the mighty men of Moab, trembling takes hold upon them, all the inhabitants of Canaan are melted away. 15:16 Terror and dread falls upon them, by the greatness of your arm they are as still as a stone, till your people pass over, O Yahweh, till the people pass over that you have purchased. 15:17 You will bring them in, and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, the place, O Yahweh, which you have made for you to dwell in, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. 15:18 Yahweh shall reign forever and ever. 15:19 For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and Yahweh brought back the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel walked on dry land in the midst of the sea. 15:20 And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women went out after her with tambourines and with dances. 15:21 And Miriam answered them, Sing ye to Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously, the horse and his rider has he thrown into the sea. 15:22 And Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness, and found no water. 15:23 And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter, therefore the name of it was called Marah. 15:24 And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? 15:25 And he cried to Yahweh, and Yahweh showed him a tree, and he cast it into the 8 waters, and the waters were made sweet ordinance, and there he proved them. There he made for them a statute and an 15:26, and he said, If you will diligently hearken to the voice of Yahweh your God, and will do that which is right in his eyes, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon you, which I have put upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahweh who heals you. 15:27 And they came to Elim, where were 12 springs of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped by the waters. Chapter 16:16-1 And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. 16:2 And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron in the wilderness. 16:3 And the children of Israel said to them, Would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into this wilderness, to kill this whole assembly with hunger. 16:4 Then said Yahweh to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law, or not. 16:5 And it shall come to pass on the 6th day, that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. 16:6 And Moses and Aaron said to all the children of Israel, At even, then ye shall know that Yahweh has brought you out from the land of Egypt. 16:7 And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of Yahweh, for that he hears your murmurings against Yahweh. And what are we, that ye murmur against us? 16:8 And Moses said, This shall be, when Yahweh shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, for that Yahweh hears your murmurings which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Yahweh. 16:9 And Moses said to Aaron, Say to all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your murmurings. 16:10 And it came to pass, as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and, behold, the glory of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. 16:11 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 16:12 I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, speak to them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh your God. 16:13 And it came to pass at even, that the quails came up, and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the camp. 16:14 And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness a fine flake-like thing, fine as the hoarfrost on the ground. 16:15 And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, What is it? For they knew not what it was. And Moses said to them, It is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. 16:16 This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Gather ye of it every man according to his eating, an omer a head, according to the number of your persons, shall ye take it, every man for them that are in his tent. 16:17 And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. 16:18 And when they measured it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. 16:19 And Moses said to them, Let no man leave of it till the morning. 16:20 Notwithstanding they hearkened not to Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms, and became foul, and Moses was angry with them. 16:21 And they gathered it morning by morning, every man according to his eating, and when the sun became hot, it melted. 16:22 And it came to pass, that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. 16:23 And he said to them, This is that which Yahweh has spoken. Tomorrow is a solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to Yahweh. Bake that which ye will bake, and boil that which ye will boil, and all that remains over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. 16:24 And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses instructed, and it did not become foul, neither was there any worm therein. 16:25 And Moses said, Eat that today, For today is a Sabbath to Yahweh, today ye shall not find it in the field. 16:26 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. 16:27 And it came to pass on the seventh day, that there went out some of the people to gather, and they found none. 16:28 And Yahweh said to Moses, How long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? 16:29 See, for that Yahweh has given you the Sabbath, therefore he gives you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place, let no man go out of his place. On the seventh day, 16:30 So the people rested on the seventh day. 16:31 And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna, and it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. 16:32 And Moses said, This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded, let an omer full of it be kept throughout your generations, that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. 16:33 And Moses said to Aaron, Take a pot, and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before Yahweh, to be kept throughout your generations. 16:34 As Yahweh commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony, to be kept. 16:35 And the children of Israel did eat the manna 40 years, until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat the manna, until they came to the borders of the land of Canaan. 16:36 Now an omer is the 10th part of an ephah. Chapter 17:17 And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin, by their journeys, according to the commandment of Yahweh, and encamped in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. 17:2 Therefore the people quarreled with Moses, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said to them, Why strive ye with me? Why do ye tempt Yahweh? 17:3 And the people thirsted for water, and the people murmured against Moses, and said, Why have you brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? 17:4 And Moses cried to Yahweh, saying, What shall I do to this people? They are almost ready to stone me. 17:5 And Yahweh said to Moses, Pass on before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and your rod, with which you struck the river, take it in your hand, and go. 17:6 Behold, I will stand before you there upon the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. 17:7 And he called the name of the place Massah, and Meribah, because of the striving of the children of Israel, and because they tempted Yahweh, saying, Is Yahweh among us, or not? 17:8 Then came Amalek, and fought with Israel in Rephidim. 17:9 And Moses said to Joshua, Choose us out men, and go out, fight with Amalek tomorrow. I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. 17:10 So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. 17:11 And it came to pass, that as long as Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. 17:12 But Moses' hands became heavy, so they took a stone, and put it under him, and he sat on it, and Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, one on one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. 17:13 And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. 17:14 And Yahweh said to Moses, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. 17:15 And Moses built an altar, and called the name of it Yahweh Nissi. 17:16 And he said, Yahweh has sworn, Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Chapter 18:1 Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard about all that God had done for Moses, and for Israel his people, how Yahweh had brought Israel out of Egypt. 18:2 And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her away. 18:3 And her 2 sons, of whom the name of the one was Gershom, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. 18:4 And the name of the other was Elza, for he said, the God of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. 18:5 And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses into the wilderness where he was encamped, at the mount of God. 18:6 And he said to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am come to you, and your wife, and her 2 sons with her. 18:7 And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and did her obeisance, and kissed him, and they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. 18:8 And Moses told his father-in-law all that Yahweh had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how Yahweh delivered them. 18:9 And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which Yahweh had done to Israel, in that he had delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptians. 18:10 And Jethro said, Blessed be Yahweh, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. 18:11 I know now that Yahweh is greater than all other gods, indeed. Witness the matter in which they dealt proudly against the people. 18:12 And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God, and Aaron came, and all the elders of Israel, to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. 18:13 And it came to pass the next day, that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood about Moses from the morning to the evening. 18:14 And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, What is this thing that you are doing to the people? Why are you sitting by yourself, and all the people are standing around you from morning until evening? 18:15 And Moses said to his father-in-law, Because the people come to me to inquire of God. 18:16 When they have a matter, they come to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and I make them know the statutes of God, and his laws. 18:17 And Moses' father-in-law said to him, The thing that you are doing is not good. 18:18 You will surely wear away, both you, and this people that is with you, for the thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to perform it yourself alone. 18:19 Take heed now to my voice. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You be for the people to Godward, and you bring the causes to God. 18:20 And you shall teach them the statutes and the laws, and show them the way in which they must walk, and the work that they must do. 18:21 Moreover you shall provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating unjust gain, and place such men over them, to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. 18:22 And let them judge the people at all seasons, and it shall be, that all the important cases they shall bring to you, but every small matter they shall judge themselves, so shall it be easier for you, and thus they shall bear it with you. 18:23 If you shall do this thing, and God commands you so, then you shall be able to endure, and all this people also shall go to their place in peace. 18:24 So Moses did take heed to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. 18:25 And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. 18:26 And they judged the people at all seasons the hard cases they brought to Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. 18:27 And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. Chapter 19:1 In the 3rd month after the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into their wilderness of Sinai. 19:2 And when they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the wilderness of Sinai, they encamped in the wilderness, and there Israel encamped before the mountain. 19:3 And Moses went up to God, and Yahweh called to him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. 19 For you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. 19:5 Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be my own possession from among all peoples, for all the earth is mine. 19:6 And ye shall be to me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel. 19:7 And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and set before them all these words which Yahweh commanded him. 19:8 And all the people answered together, and said, All that Yahweh has spoken we will do. And Moses reported the words of the people to Yahweh. 19:9 And Yahweh said to Moses, Lo, I come to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe you forever. And Moses told the words of the people to Yahweh. 19:10 And Yahweh said to Moses, Go to the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments. 19:11 And be ready against the third day, for the third day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. 19:12 And you shall set bounds to the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall be surely put to death. 19:13 No hand shall touch him, without surely being stoned, or shot through, whether it is beast or man. He shall not live when the trumpet sounds long. They shall come up to their mountain. 19:14 And Moses went down from the mount to the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their garments. 19:15 And he said to the people, Be ready against the third day, come not near a woman. 19:16 And it came to pass on the third day, when it was morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and the voice of a trumpet exceedingly loud, and all the people that were in the camp trembled. 19:17 And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. 19:18 And Mount Sinai, the whole of it, smoked, because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. 19:19 And when the voice of the trumpet became louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him by a voice. 19:20 And Yahweh came down upon Mount Sinai, to the top of the mount, and Yahweh called Moses to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. 19:21 And Yahweh said to Moses, Go down, admonish the people, before they break through to Yahweh to gaze, and many of them perish. 19:22 And let the priests also, that come near to Yahweh, sanctify themselves, lest Yahweh break forth upon them. 19:23 And Moses said to Yahweh, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you charged us, saying, Set bounds about the mount, and sanctify it. 19:24 And Yahweh said to him, Go, get yourself down, and you shall come up, you, and Aaron with you, but let not the priests and the people break through to come up to Yahweh, lest he break forth upon them. 19:25 So Moses went down to the people, and told them. Chapter 20:21 And God spoke all these words, saying, 22 I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. 23 You shall have no other gods before me. 24 You shall not make for yourselves a graven image, nor any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. 25 You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I Yahweh your God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and upon the fourth generation of those who hate me. 26 And showing loving kindness to thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. 27 You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. 28 Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 29 6 days shall you labor, and do all your work. 20:10 But the seventh day is a Sabbath to Yahweh your God, in it you shall not do any work, you, neither your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. 20:11 For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. 2012 Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land which Yahweh your God is giving you. 2013 You shall not murder. 2014 You shall not commit adultery. 2015 You shall not steal. 2016 You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. 2017 You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. 2018 And all the people perceived the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the voice of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking, and when the people saw it, they trembled, and stood afar off. 2019 And they said to Moses, Speak with us, and we will listen, but do not let God speak with us, lest we die. 2020 And Moses said to the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and so that his fear may be before you, that ye sin not. 2021 And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. 2022 And Yahweh said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, You yourselves have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. 2023 You shall not make other gods with me, gods of silver, or gods of gold, ye shall not make to you. 2024 An altar of earth you shall make to me, and shall sacrifice upon it your burnt offerings, and your peace offerings, your sheep, and your oxen. In every place where I record my name I will come to you and I will bless you. 2025 And if you make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stones, for if you lift up your tool upon it, you have polluted it. 2026 Neither shall you go up by steps to my altar, that your nakedness be not uncovered upon it. Chapter 21 1 Now these are the ordinances which you shall set before them. 21:2 If you buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. 21:3 If he comes in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he be married, then his wife shall go out with him. 21:4 If his master give him a wife and she bear him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. 21:5 But if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. 21:6 Then his master shall bring him to God, and shall bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. 21:7 And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do. 21:8 If she pleases not her master, who has espoused her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed to sell her to a foreign people. He shall have no power, seeing he has dealt deceitfully with her. 21:9 And if he espouse her to his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. 21:10 If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage, shall he not diminish. 21:11 And if he do not these 3 things to her, then shall she go out for nothing, without money. 21:12 He who strikes a man, such that he dies, shall surely be put to death. 21:13 And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint you a place whither he shall flee. 21:14 And if a man should come premeditatedly upon his neighbor, to slay him with guile, you shall take him from away from my altar, that he may die. 21:15 And he who strikes his father, or his mother, shall be surely put to death. 21:16 And he who steals a man, and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. 21:17 And he who curses his father or his mother, shall surely be put to death. 21:18 And if men fight, and one strikes the other with a stone, on with his fist, and the other does not die but takes to his bed. 21:19 If he should rise again, and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he who struck him is acquitted, provided he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. 21:20 And if a man strikes his servant, or his maid, with a rod, and he dies under his hand, he shall surely be punished. 21:21 Notwithstanding, if the slave continues a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his living. 21:22 And if men are fighting, and hurt a woman with child, such that her fruit departs, and yet no harm follow, he shall be surely fined, according as the woman's husband shall lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. 21:23 But if any harm follows, then you shall give life for life. 21:24 Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. 21:25 Burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. 21:26 And if a man strikes the eye of his servant, or the eye of his maid, and destroys it, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. 21:27 And if he knocks out his manservant's tooth, or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. 21:28 And if an ox should gore a man or a woman to death, the ox shall be surely stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be acquitted. 21:29 But if the ox was in the habit to gore in times past, and it has been testified to its owner, and he has not kept it in, but it has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner also shall be put to death. 21:30 Should there be imposed upon him a ransom, then he shall give for the redemption of his life whatsoever is imposed upon him. 21:31 Whether it has gored a son, or has gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done to him. 21:32 If the ox should gore a manservant or a maidservant, there shall be given to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. 21:33 And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit and not cover it, and an ox or a donkey fall therein. 21:34 The owner of the pit shall make it good, he shall give money to its owner, and the dead beast shall be his. 21:35 And if one man's ox should hurt another's, such that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox, and divide the price of it, and the dead one also they shall divide. 21:36 Or if it be known that the ox was in the habit to gore in times past, and its owner hadst not kept it in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead beast shall be his own. Chapter 22:22 If a man shall steal an ox, or a sheep, and kill it, or sell it, he shall pay 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. 22:2 If the thief should be found breaking in, and be struck such that he dies, there shall be no blood guilt for that one striking. 22:3 But should the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood guilt for him. The thief shall make restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. 22:4 If the theft be found in his hand alive, whether it be ox, or donkey, or sheep, he shall pay double. 22:5 If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall let his beast loose, and it feeds in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field, and from the best of his own vineyard. 22:6 If fire should break out, and catch in thorns, such that the shocks of grain, or the standing grain, or the field are consumed, the one that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. 22:7 If a man shall entrust to his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, he shall pay double. 22:8 If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall come near to God, to be seen whether or not he has put his hand to his neighbor's goods. 22:9 For every matter of adverse possession, whether it be for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing, about which one person says, "This is it," the cause of both parties shall come before God. He whom God shall convict shall pay double to his neighbor. 22:10 If a man delivers to his neighbor a donkey, or an ox, or a sheep, or any beast, to keep, and it die, or be hurt, or driven away, no man seeing it. 22:11 The oath of Yahweh shall be between them both, whether he has not put his hand to his neighbor's goods, and the owner thereof shall accept it, and he shall not make restitution. 22:12 But if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution to the owner thereof. 22:13 If it be torn in pieces, let him bring it for witness. He shall not make good that which was torn. 22:14 And if a man borrow anything of his neighbor, and it be hurt, or die, the owner thereof not being with it, he shall surely make restitution. 22:15 If the owner thereof is with it, he shall not make it good if it be a hired thing, it came for its hire. 22:16 And if a man entices a virgin that is not betrothed, and lies with her, he shall surely pay a dowry for her to be his wife. 22:17 If her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. 22:18 You shall not allow a sorceress to live. 22:19 Whosoever lies with a beast shall surely be put to death. 22:20 He that sacrifices to any god, except to Yahweh only, shall be utterly destroyed. 22:21 And a sojourner shall you not wrong, neither shall you oppress him, for ye were sojourners in the land of Egypt. 22:22 You shall not afflict any widow, or fatherless child. 22:23 If you afflict them at all, and they cry at all to me, I will surely hear their cry. 22:24 And my wrath shall grow hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. 22:25 If you lend money to any of my people with you that is poor, you shall not be to him as a creditor, neither shall ye lay upon him interest. 22:26 If you at all take your neighbor's garment to pledge, you shall restore it to him before the sun goes down. 22:27 For that is his only covering, it is his garment for his skin. In what shall he sleep? And it shall come to pass, when he cries to me, that I will hear, for I am gracious. 22:28 You shall not revile God, nor curse a ruler of your people. 22:29 You shall not delay to offer of your harvest, and of the outflow of your presses. The firstborn of your sons shall you give to me. 22:30 Likewise shall you do with your oxen, and with your sheep. 7 days it shall be with its dam, on the 8th day you shall give it me. 22:31 And ye shall be holy men to me, therefore ye shall not eat any flesh that is torn by beasts in the field, ye shall cast it to the dogs. Chapter 23:23 You shall not take up a false report, put not your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. 23:2 You shall not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shall you speak in a cause to turn aside after a multitude to wrest justice. 23:3 Neither shall you favor a poor man in his cause. 23:4 If you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again. 23:5 If you see the donkey of him that hates you lying under his burden, you shall forbear to leave him, you shall surely release it with him. 23:6 You shall not wrest the justice due to your poor in his cause. 23:7 Keep you far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay you not, for I will not justify the wicked. 23:8 And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds them that have sight, and perverts the words of the righteous. 23:9 And a sojourner shall you not oppress, for ye know the heart of a sojourner, seeing ye were sojourners in the land of Egypt. 23:10 And 6 years you shall sow your land, and shall gather in the increase thereof. 23:11 But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beast of the field shall eat. In like manner you shall deal with your vineyard, and with your olive yard. 23:12 6 days you shall do your work, and on the 7th day you shall rest, that your ox and your donkey may have rest, and the son of your handmaid, and the sojourner, may be refreshed. 23:13 And in all things that I have said to you take ye heed, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. 23:14 3 times you shall keep a feast to me in the year. 23:15 The feast of unleavened bread shall you keep. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, at the time appointed in the month Abib, for in it you came out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. 23:16 And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of your labors, which you sow in the field, and the feast of ingathering, at the end of the year, when you gather in your labors out of the field. 23:17 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before the Lord Yahweh. 23:18 You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my feast remain all night until the morning. 23:19 The first of the first fruits of your ground you shall bring into the house of Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. 23:20 Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you by the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. 23:21 Take ye heed before him, and hearken to his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. 23:22 But if you shall indeed hearken to his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy to your enemies, and an adversary to your adversaries. 23:23 For my angel shall go before you, and bring you into the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Canaanite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, and I will cut them off. 23:24 You shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but you shall utterly overthrow them, and break in pieces their pillars. 23:25 And ye shall serve Yahweh your God, and he will bless your bread, and your water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you. 23:26 There shall none cast her young, nor be barren, in your land the number of your days I will fulfill. 23:27 I will send my terror before you, and will discomfit all the people to whom you shall come, and I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. 23:28 And I will send the hornet before you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite, from before you. 23:29 I will not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against you. 23:30 Little by little I will drive them out from before you, until you are increased, and inherit the land. 23:31 And I will set your border from the Red Sea even to the Sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. 23:32 You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. 23:33 They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me, for if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you. Chapter 24 1 And he said to Moses, Come up to Yahweh, you, and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. 24:2 And Moses alone shall come near to Yahweh, but they shall not come near, neither shall the people go up with him. 24:3 And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the ordinances, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which Yahweh has spoken will we do. 24:4 And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the mount, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. 24:5 And he sent young men of the children of Israel, who offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to Yahweh. 24:6 And Moses took half of the blood, and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. 24:7 And he took the book of the covenant, and read in the audience of the people, and they said, All that Yahweh has spoken will we do, and be obedient. 24:8 And Moses took the blood, and sprinkled it on the people, and said, Behold the blood of the covenant, which Yahweh has made with you concerning all these words. 24:9 Then went up Moses, and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. 24:10 And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the very heaven for clearness. 24:11 And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand, and they beheld God, and did eat and drink. 24:12 And Yahweh said to Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and stay there, and I will give you the tables of stone, and the law and the commandment, which I have written, that you may teach them. 24:13 And Moses rose up, and Joshua his minister, and Moses went up into the mount of God. 24:14 And he said to the elders, Tarry ye here for us, until we come again to you, and, behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whosoever has a cause, let him come near to them. 24:15 And Moses went up into the mount, and the cloud covered the mount. 24:16 And the glory of Yahweh abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days, and the 7th day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. 24:17 And the appearance of the glory of Yahweh was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. 24:18 And Moses entered into the midst of the cloud, and went up into the mountain. Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Chapter 25:25 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 25 To tell the children of Israel to take for me an offering of every man whose heart makes him willing. Ye shall take my offering. 25:3 And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold, and silver, and brass. 25:4 And blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair. 25:5 And ram skins dyed red, and seal skins, and acacia wood. 25:6 Oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. 25:7 Onyx stones, and stones to be set, for the ephod, and for the breastplate. 25:8 And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. 25:9 According to all that I show you, the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the furniture thereof, even so shall ye make it. 25:10 And they shall make an ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. 25:11 And you shall overlay it with pure gold, within and without shall you overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. 25:12 And you shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 feet thereof, and 2 rings shall be on the one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. 25:13 And you shall make staves of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. 25:14 And you shall put the staves into the rings on the sides of the ark, with which to bear the ark and saw. 25:15 The staves shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. 25:16 And you shall put into the ark the testimony which I shall give you. 25:17 And you shall make a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. 25:18 And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold, of beaten work shall you make them, at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 25:19 And make 1 cherub at the one end, and 1 cherub at the other end of one piece with the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubim on the 2 ends thereof. 25:20 And the cherubim shall spread out their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubim be. 25:21 And you shall put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark you shall put the testimony that I shall give you. 25:22 And there I will meet with you, and I will commune with you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give you in commandment to the children of Israel. 25:23 And you shall make a table of acacia wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. 25:24 And you shall overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. 25:25 And you shall make to it a border of a handbreadth round about, and you shall make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. 25:26 And you shall make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. 25:27 Close by the border shall the rings be, for places for the staves to bear the table. 25:28 And you shall make the staves of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. 25:29 And you shall make the dishes thereof, and the spoons thereof, and the flagons thereof, and the bowls thereof, with which to pour out of pure gold shall you make them. 25:30 And you shall set upon the table showbread before me always. 25:31 And you shall make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candlestick be made, even its base, and its shaft, its cups, its buds, and its flowers, shall be of one piece with it. 25:32 And there shall be 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 25:33 3 cups made like almond blossoms in one branch, a bud and a flower, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a bud and a flower, so for the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. 25:34 And in the candlestick 4 cups made like almond blossoms, the buds thereof, and the flowers thereof. 25:35 And a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, for the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. 25:36 Their buds and their branches shall be of one piece with it, the whole of it one beaten work of pure gold. 25:37 And you shall make the lamps thereof, 7 and they shall light the lamps thereof, to give light over against it. 25:38 And the snuffers thereof, and the snuff dishes thereof, shall be of pure gold. 25:39 Of a talent of pure gold shall it be made, with all these vessels. 25:40 And see that you make them after their pattern, which has been shown you in the mount. Chapter 26 1 Moreover you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains, of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, with cherubim the work of the skillful workman shall you make them. 26:2 The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall have one measure. 26:3 5 curtains shall be coupled together one to another, and the other 5 curtains shall be coupled one to another. 26:4 And you shall make loops of blue upon the edge of the one curtain from the selve edge in the coupling, and likewise shall you make in the edge of the curtain that is outmost in the second coupling. 26:5 50 loops shall you make in the one curtain, and 50 loops shall you make in the edge of the curtain that is in the second coupling. The loops shall be opposite one to another. 26:6 And you shall make 50 clasps of gold, and couple the curtains one to another with the clasps, and the tabernacle shall be one whole. 26:7 And you shall make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains shall you make them. 26:8 The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall have one measure. 26:9 And you shall couple 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves, and shall double over the 6th curtain in the forefront of the tent. 26:10 And you shall make 50 loops on the edge of the one curtain that is outmost in the coupling, and 50 loops upon the edge of the curtain which is outmost in the second coupling. 26:11 And you shall make 50 clasps of brass, and put the clasps into the loops, and couple the tent together, that it may be one. 26:12 And the overhanging part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. 26:13 And the cubit on the one side, and the cubit on the other side, of that which remains in the length of the curtains of the tent, shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and on that side, to cover it. 26:14 And you shall make a covering for the tent of ram's skins dyed red, and a covering of seal skins above. 26:15 And you shall make the boards for the tabernacle of acacia wood, standing up. 26:16 10 cubits shall be the length of a board, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each board. 26:17 2 tenons shall there be in each board, joined one to another. Thus shall you make for all the boards of the tabernacle. 26:18 And you shall make the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward. 26:19 And you shall make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for its 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for its 2 tenons. 26:20 And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, 20 boards, 2621 and their 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. 2622 And for the hinder part of the tabernacle westward you shall make 6 boards. 2623 And 2 boards shall you make for the corners of the tabernacle in the hinder part. 2624 And they shall be double beneath, and in like manner they shall be entire to the top thereof to one ring, thus shall it be for them both, they shall be for the 2 corners. 2625 And there shall be 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. 2626 And you shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle. 2627 And 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle, for the hinder part westward. 2628 And the middle bar in the midst of the boards shall pass through from end to end. 2629 And you shall overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings of gold for places for the bars, and you shall overlay the bars with gold. 2630 And you shall rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof which has been shown you in the mount. 2631 And you shall make a veil of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen with cherubim, the work of the skillful workman shall it be made. 2632 And you shall hang it upon 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, their hooks shall be of gold, upon 4 sockets of silver. 2633 And you shall hang up the veil under the clasps, and shall bring in within the veil the ark of the testimony, and the veil shall separate to you between the holy place and the most holy. 2634 And you shall put the mercy seat upon the ark of the testimony in the most holy place. 2635 And you shall set the table without the veil, and the candlestick over against the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south, and you shall put the table on the north side. 2636 And you shall make a screen for the door of the tent, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, the work of the embroiderer. 2637 And you shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia, and overlay them with gold, their hooks shall be of gold, and you shall cast 5 sockets of brass for them. Chapter 27 1 And you shall make the altar of acacia wood, 5 cubits long, and 5 cubits broad. The altar shall be 4 square, and the height thereof shall be 3 cubits. 27:2 And you shall make the horns of it upon the 4 corners thereof. The horns thereof shall be of one piece with it, and you shall overlay it with brass. 27:3 And you shall make its pots to take away its ashes, and its shovels, and its basins, and its flesh hooks, and its fire pans, all the vessels thereof you shall make of brass. 27:4 And you shall make for it a grating of network of brass, and upon the net shall you make 4 brazen rings in the 4 corners thereof. 27:5 And you shall put it under the ledge round the altar beneath, that the net may reach halfway up the altar. 27:6 And you shall make staves for the altar, staves of acacia wood, and overlay them with brass. 27:7 And the staves thereof shall be put into the rings, and the staves shall be upon the 2 sides of the altar, in bearing it. 27:8 Hollow with planks shall you make it, as it has been shown you in the mount, so shall they make it. 27:9 And you shall make the court of the tabernacle for the south side southward. There shall be hangings for the court of fine twined linen 100 cubits long for one side. 27:10 And the pillars thereof shall be 20, and their sockets 20, of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets shall be of silver. 27:11 And likewise for the north side in length there shall be hangings 100 cubits long, and the pillars thereof 20, and their sockets 20, of brass, the hooks of the pillars, and their fillets, of silver. 27:12 And for the breadth of the court on the west side shall be hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. 27:13 And the breadth of the court on the east side eastward shall be 50 cubits. 27:14 The hangings for the one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. 27:15 And for the other side shall be hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. 27:16 And for the gate of the court shall be a screen of 20 cubits, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, the work of the embroiderer, their pillars 4, and their sockets 4. 27:17 All the pillars of the court round about shall be filleted with silver, their hooks of silver, and their sockets of brass. 27:18 The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, and the breadth 50 everywhere, and the height 5 cubits, of fine twined linen, and their sockets of brass. 27:19 All the instruments of the tabernacle in all the service thereof, and all the pins thereof, and all the pins of the court, shall be of brass. 27:20 And you shall command the children of Israel, that they bring to you pure olive oil beaten for the light, to cause a lamp to burn continually. 27:21 In the tent of meeting, without the veil which is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons shall keep it in order from evening to morning before Yahweh. It shall be a statute forever throughout their generations on the behalf of the children of Israel. Chapter 28:1 And bring you near to you Aaron your brother, and his sons with him, from among the children of Israel, that he may minister to me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. 28:2 And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty. 28:3 And you shall speak to all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they make Aaron's garments to sanctify him, that he may minister to me in the priest's office. 28:4 And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a coat of checker work, a mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, and his sons, that he may minister to me in the priest's office. 28:5 And they shall take the gold, and the blue, and the purple, and the scarlet, and the fine linen. 28:6 And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen, the work of the skillful workman. 28:7 It shall have 2 shoulder pieces joined to the 2 ends thereof, that it may be joined together. 28:8 And the skillfully woven band, which is upon it, with which to gird it on, shall be like the work thereof, and of the same piece, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. 28:9 And you shall take 2 onyx stones, and grave on them the names of the children of Israel. 28:10 6 of their names on the one stone, and the names of the 6 that remain on the other stone, according to their birth. 28:11 With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, shall you engrave the 2 stones, according to the names of the children of Israel. You shall make them to be enclosed in settings of gold. 28:12 And you shall put the 2 stones upon the shoulder pieces of the ephod, to be stones of memorial for the children of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh upon his 2 shoulders for a memorial. 28:13 And you shall make settings of gold. 28:14 And 2 chains of pure gold, like cords shall you make them, of wreathen work. And you shall put the wreathen chains on the settings. 28:15 And you shall make a breastplate of judgment, the work of the skillful workman, like the work of the ephod. You shall make it, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, shall you make it. 28:16 Foursquare it shall be and double. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof. 28:17 And you shall set in it settings of stones, 4 rows of stones: a row of sardius, topaz, and carbuncle shall be the first row. 28:18 And the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. 28:19 And the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. 28:20 And the fourth row a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be enclosed in gold in their settings. 28:21 And the stones shall be according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one according to his name. They shall be for the 12 tribes. 28:22 And you shall make upon the breastplate chains like cords, of wreathen work of pure gold. 28:23 And you shall make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shall put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. 28-24 And you shall put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. 28-25 And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains you shall put on the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod in the foreparts thereof. 28-26 And you shall make 2 rings of gold, and you shall put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the edge thereof, which is toward the side of the ephod inward. 28-27 And you shall make 2 rings of gold, and shall put them on the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath, in the foreparts thereof, close by the coupling thereof, above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. 28-28 And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be upon the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loosed from the ephod. 28-29 And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goes into the holy place, for a memorial before Yahweh continually. 28-30 And you shall put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart, when he goes in before Yahweh. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Yahweh continually. 28-31 And you shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue. 28-32 And it shall have a hole for the head in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work round about the whole of it, as it were the whole of a coat of mail, that it be not rent. 28-33 And upon the skirts of it you shall make pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the skirts thereof, and bells of gold between them round about. 28-34 A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, upon the skirts of the robe round about. 28-35 And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and the sound thereof shall be heard when he goes into the holy place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, that he die not. 28-36 And you shall make a plate of pure gold, and grave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holy to Yahweh. 28-37 And you shall put it on a lace of blue, and it shall be upon the mitre, upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. 28-38 And it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, and Aaron shall bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts, and it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yahweh. 28-39 And you shall weave the coat in checker work of fine linen, and you shall make a mitre of fine linen, and you shall make a girdle, the work of the embroiderer. 28-40 And for Aaron's sons you shall make coats, and you shall make for them girdles, and head tires shall you make for them, for glory and for beauty. 28-41 And you shall put them upon Aaron your brother, and upon his sons with him, and shall anoint them, and consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister to me in the priest's office. 28-42 And you shall make them linen breeches to cover the flesh of their nakedness, from the loins even to the thighs they shall reach. 28-43 And they shall be upon Aaron, and upon his sons, when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near to the altar to minister in the holy place, that they bear not iniquity, and die. It shall be a statute forever to him and to his seed after him. Chapter 29:29-1 And this is the thing that you shall do to them to hallow them, to minister to me in the priest's office. Take 1 young bullock and 2 rams without blemish. 29:2 And unleavened bread, and cakes unleavened mingled with oil, and wafers unleavened anointed with oil of fine wheaten flour shall you make them. 29:3 And you shall put them into 1 basket, and bring them in the basket, with the bullock and the 2 rams. 29:4 And Aaron and his sons you shall bring to the door of the tent of meeting, and shall wash them with water. 29:5 And you shall take the garments, and put upon Aaron the coat, and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him with the skillfully woven band of the ephod. 29:6 And you shall set the mitre upon his head, and put the holy crown upon the mitre. 29:7 Then shall you take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. 29:8 And you shall bring his sons, and put coats upon them. 29:9 And you shall gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and bind head ties on them, and they shall have the priesthood by a perpetual statute, and you shall consecrate Aaron and his sons. 29:10 And you shall bring the bullock before the tent of meeting, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock. 29:11 And you shall kill the bullock before Yahweh, at the door of the tent of meeting. 29:12 And you shall take of the blood of the bullock, and put it upon the horns of the altar with your finger, and you shall pour out all the blood at the base of the altar. 29:13 And you shall take all the fat that covers the inwards, and the lobe upon the liver, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and burn them upon the altar. 29:14 But the flesh of the bullock, and its skin, and its dung, shall you burn with fire without the camp, it is a sin offering. 29:15 You shall also take the one ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands upon the head of the ram. 29:16 And you shall slay the ram, and you shall take its blood, and sprinkle it round about upon the altar. 29:17 And you shall cut the ram into its pieces, and wash its inwards, and its legs, and put them with its pieces, and with its head. 29:18 And you shall burn the whole ram upon the altar, it is a burnt offering to Yahweh, it is a sweet savour, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. 29:19 And you shall take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands upon the head of the ram. 29:20 Then shall you kill the ram, and take of its blood, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. 29:21 And you shall take of the blood that is upon the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons with him, and he shall be hallowed, and his garments, and his sons, and his sons' garments with him. 29:22 Also you shall take of the ram the fat, and the fat tail, and the fat that covers the inwards, and the lobe of the liver, and the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and the right thigh, for it is a ram of consecration. 29:23 And one loaf of bread, and one cake of oiled bread, and one wafer, out of the basket of unleavened bread that is before Yahweh. 29:24 And you shall put the whole upon the hands of Aaron, and upon the hands of his sons, and shall wave them for a wave offering before Yahweh. 29:25 And you shall take them from their hands, and burn them on the altar upon the burnt offering, for a sweet savour before Yahweh, it is an offering made by fire to Yahweh. 29:26 And you shall take the breast of Aaron's ram of consecration, and wave it for a wave offering before Yahweh, and it shall be your portion. 29:27 And you shall sanctify the breast of the wave offering, and the thigh of the heave offering, which is waved, and which is heaved up, of the ram of consecration, even of that which is for Aaron, and of that which is for his sons. 29:28 And it shall be for Aaron and his sons as their portion forever from the children of Israel, for it is a portion set aside, and it shall be a portion set aside from the children of Israel of the sacrifices of their peace offerings, even their portion set aside to Yahweh. 29:29 And the holy garments of Aaron shall be for his sons after him, to be anointed in them, and to be consecrated in them. 29:37 Days shall the son that is priest in his stead put them on, when he comes into the tent of meeting to minister in the holy place. 29:31 And you shall take the ram of consecration, and boil its flesh in a holy place. 29:32 And Aaron and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket, at the door of the tent of meeting. 29:33 And they shall eat those things with which atonement was made, to consecrate and to sanctify them, but a stranger shall not eat thereof, because they are holy. 29:34 And if anything of the flesh of the consecration, or of the bread, remains to the morning, then you shall burn the remainder with fire, it shall not be eaten, because it is holy. 29:35 And thus shall you do to Aaron, and to his sons, According to all that I have commanded you, 7 days shall you consecrate them. 29:36 And every day shall you offer the bullock of sin offering for atonement, and you shall cleanse the altar, when you make atonement for it, and you shall anoint it, 2. Sanctify it. 29:37 7 days you shall make atonement for the altar, and sanctify it, and the altar shall be most holy. Whatsoever touches the altar shall be holy. 29:38 Now this is that which you shall offer upon the altar: 2 lambs a year old, day by day continually. 29:39 The one lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at even. 29:40 And with the one lamb 1/10 part of an ephah of fine flour mingled with the 1/4 part of a hin of beaten oil, and the 1/4 part of a hin of wine for a drink offering. 29:41 And the other lamb you shall offer at even, and shall do thereto according to the meal offering of the morning, and according to the drink offering thereof, for a sweet savor, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. 29:42 It shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door of the tent of meeting before Yahweh, where I will meet with you, to speak the to you. 29:43 And there I will meet with the children of Israel, and the tent shall be sanctified by my glory. 29:44 And I will sanctify the tent of meeting, and the altar. Aaron also and his sons will I sanctify, to minister to me in the priest's office. 29:45 And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will be their God. 29:46 And they shall know that I am Yahweh their God, that brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, that I might dwell among them. I am Yahweh their God. Chapter 30:31 And you shall make an altar to burn incense upon, of acacia wood shall you make it. 32 A cubit shall be the length of it, and a cubit the breadth of it, 4 square shall it be, and 2 cubits shall be the height of it. Its horns shall be of one piece with it. 33 And you shall overlay it with pure gold, the top of it, and the sides of it round about, and the horns of it, and you shall make to it a crown of gold round about. 34 And 2 golden rings shall you make for it under its crown, upon its 2 ribs, upon the 2 sides of it shall you make them, and they shall be for places for staves with which to bear it. 35 And you shall make the staves of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. 36 And you shall put it before the veil that is by the ark of the testimony, before the mercy seat that is over the testimony, where I will meet with you. 37 And Aaron shall burn upon it incense of sweet spices every morning, when he dresses the lamps, he shall burn it. 38 And when Aaron lights the lamps at even, he shall burn it, a perpetual incense before Yahweh throughout your generations. 39 You shall offer no strange incense upon it, nor burnt offering, nor meal offering, and ye shall pour no drink offering upon it. 30:10 And Aaron shall make atonement upon the horns of it once in the year, with the blood of the sin offering of atonement. Once in the year shall he make atonement for it throughout your generations. It is most holy to Yahweh. 30:11 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 30:12 When you take the sum of the children of Israel, according to those that are numbered of them, then shall they give every man ransom for his soul to Yahweh, when you number them, that there be no plague among them, when you number them. 30:13 This they shall give, every one that passes over to them that are numbered, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. The shekel is 20 gerahs, half a shekel for an offering to Yahweh. 30:14 Every one that passes over to them that are numbered, from 20 years old and upward, shall give the offering of Yahweh. 30:15 The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less, than the half shekel, when they give the offering of Yahweh, to make atonement for your souls. 30:16 And you shall take the atonement money from the children of Israel, and shall appoint it for the service of the tent of meeting, that it may be a memorial for the children of Israel before Yahweh, to make atonement for your souls. 30:17 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 30:18 You shall also make a laver of brass, and the base thereof of brass, whereat to Washington. And you shall put it between the tent of meeting and the altar, and you shall put water therein. 30:19 And Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet thereat. 30:20 When they go into the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water, that they die not, or when they come near to the altar to minister, to burn an offering made by fire to Yahweh. 30:21 So they shall wash their hands and their feet, so that they die not, and it shall be a statute forever to them, even to him and to his seed throughout their generations. 30:22 Moreover Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 30:23 Take you also to you the chief spices of flowing myrrh 500 shekels, and of sweet cinnamon half so much, even 250, and of sweet calamus 250. 30:24 And of cassia 500, after the shekel of the sanctuary, and of olive oil a hin. 30:25 And you shall make it a holy anointing oil, a perfume compounded after the hour of the perfumer, it shall be a holy anointing oil. 30:26 And you shall anoint with it the tent of meeting, and the ark of the testimony. 30:27 And the table and all the vessels thereof, and the candlestick and the vessels thereof, and the altar of incense. 30:28 And the altar of burnt offering with all the vessels thereof, and the laver and the base thereof. 30:29 And you shall sanctify them, that they may be most holy, whatsoever touches them shall be holy. 30:30 And you shall anoint Aaron and his sons, and sanctify them, that they may minister to me in the priest's office. 30:31 And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, This shall be a holy anointing oil to me throughout your generations. 30:32 Upon the flesh of man shall it not be poured, neither shall ye make any like it, according to the composition thereof it is holy, and it shall be holy to you. 30:33 Whosoever compounds any like it, or whosoever puts any of it upon a stranger, he shall be cut off from his people. 30:34 And Yahweh said to Moses, Take to you sweet spices, stacked, and onycha, and galbanum, sweet spices with pure frankincense, of each shall there be a like weight. 30:35 And you shall make of it incense, a perfume after the hour of the perfumer, seasoned with salt, pure and holy. 30:36 And you shall beat some of it very small, and put of it before the testimony in the tent of meeting, where I will meet with you, it shall be to you most holy. 30:37 And the incense which you shall make, according to the composition thereof ye shall not make for yourselves, it shall be to you holy for Yahweh. 30:38 Whosoever shall make like to that, to smell thereof, he shall be cut off from his people. Chapter 31:31 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 31:2 See, I have called by name Bezalel the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. 31:3 And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship. 31:4 To devise skillful works, to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass. 31:5 And in cutting of stones for setting, and in carving of wood, to work in all manner of workmanship. 31:6 And I, behold, I have appointed with him Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, and in the heart of all that are wise-hearted I have put wisdom, that they may make all that I have commanded you. 31:7 The tent of meeting, and the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all the furniture of the tent. 31:8 And the table and its vessels, and the pure candlestick with all its vessels, and the altar of incense. 31:9 And the altar of burnt offering with all its vessels, and the laver and its space. 31:10 And the finely wrought garments, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office. 31:11 And the anointing oil, and the incense of sweet spices for the holy place, according to all that I have commanded you shall they do. 31:12 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 31:13 Speak you also to the children of Israel, saying, Verily ye shall keep my Sabbaths, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh who sanctifies you. 31:14 You shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy to you. Every one that profanes it shall surely be put to death, for whosoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 31:15 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever does any work on the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. 31:16 Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. 31:17 It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever, for in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested, and was refreshed. 31:18 And he gave to Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, the 2 tables of the testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. Chapter 32:1 And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mount, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron, and said to him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. 32:2 And Aaron said to them, Break off the golden rings, which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them to me. 32:3 And all the people broke off the golden rings which were in their ears, and brought them to Aaron. 32:4 And he received it at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, and made it a molten calf. And they said, These are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. 32:5 And when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation, and said, Tomorrow shall be a feast to Yahweh. 32:6 And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to play. 32:7 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go, get yourself down, for your people, that you brought up out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. 32:8 They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed to it, and said, These are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. 32:9 And Yahweh said to Moses, I have seen this people, and, behold, it is a stiff-necked people. 32:10 Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may grow hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of you a great nation. 32:11 And Moses besought Yahweh his God, and said, Yahweh, why does your wrath grow hot against your people, that you have brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? 32:12 Why should the Egyptians speak, saying, For evil did he bring them forth, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against your people. 32:13 Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by your own self, and said to them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. 32:14 And Yahweh repented of the evil which he said he would do to his people. 32:15 And Moses turned, and went down from the mount, with the 2 tables of the testimony in his hand, tables that were written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other were they written. 32:16 And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. 32:17 And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, There is a noise of war in the camp. 32:18 And he said, It is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. 32:19 And it came to pass, as soon as he came near to the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger became hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands, and broke them beneath the mount. 32:20 And he took the calf which they had made, and burnt it with fire, and ground it to powder, and strewed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel drink of it. 32:21 And Moses said to Aaron, What did this people to you, that you have brought a great sin upon them? 32:22 And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord grow hot. You know the people, that they are set on evil. 32:23 For they said to me, Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. 32:24 And I said to them, Whosoever has any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me, and I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. 32:25 And when Moses saw that the people were broken loose, for Aaron had let them loose for a derision among their enemies. 32:26 Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp, and said, Whoso is on Yahweh's side, let him come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together to him. 32:27 And he said to them, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, Put ye every man his sword upon his thigh, and go to and fro from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. 32:28 And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. 32:29 And Moses said, Consecrate yourselves today to Yahweh, yes, every man against his son, and against his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. 32:30 And it came to pass the next day, that Moses said to the people, You have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up to Yahweh, perhaps I shall make atonement for your sin. 32:31 And Moses returned to Yahweh, and said, Oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and have made themselves gods of gold. 32:32 But now, please forgive their sin, but if not, let it be me, I pray you, who you blot out of your book which you have written. 32:33 And Yahweh said to Moses, Whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. 32:34 And now go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. 32:35 And Yahweh attacked the people, because they made the calf, which Aaron made. Chapter 33. 33:1 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, Depart, go up from here, you and the people that you have brought up out of the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, To your seed will I give it. 33:2 And I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. 33:3 To a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of you, for you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you in the way. 33:4 And when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on him his ornaments. 33:5 And Yahweh said to Moses, Say to the children of Israel, You are a stiff-necked people, if I go up into the midst of you for one moment, I shall consume you. Therefore now put off your ornaments from you, that I may know what to do to you. 33:6 And the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. 33:7 Now Moses used to take the tent and to pitch it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and he called it, the tent of meeting. And it came to pass, that every one that sought Yahweh went out to the tent of meeting, which was without the camp. 33:8 And it came to pass, when Moses went out to the tent, that all the people rose up, and stood, every man at his tent door, and looked after Moses, until he was gone into the tent. 33:9 And it came to pass, when Moses entered into the tent, the pillar of cloud descended, and stood at the door of the tent, and Yahweh spoke with Moses. 33:10 And all the people saw the pillar of cloud stand at the door of the tent, and all the people rose up and worshipped, every man at his tent door. 33:11 And Yahweh spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his minister Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tent. 33:12 And Moses said to Yahweh, See, you say to me, Bring up this people, and you have not let me know whom you will send with me, yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. 33:13 Now therefore, I pray you, if I have found favor in your sight, show me now your ways, that I may know you, to the end that I may find favor in your sight, and consider that this nation is your people. 33:14 And he said, My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. 33:15 And he said to him, If your presence go not with me, carry us not up from here. 33:16 For in what way now shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people? Is it not in that you go with us, so that we are separated, I and your people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth? 33:17 And Yahweh said to Moses, I will do this thing also that you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. 33:18 And he said, Show me, I pray you, your glory. 33:19 And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. 33:20 And he said, You cannot see my face, for man shall not see me and live. 33:21 And Yahweh said, Behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand upon the rock. 33:22 And it shall come to pass, while my glory passes by, that I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. 33:23 And I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Chapter 34:34 And Yahweh said to Moses, Hew you 2 tables of stone like to the first, and I will write upon the tables the words that were on the first tables, which you broke. 34:2 And be ready by the morning, and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself to me on the top of the mount. 34:3 And no man shall come up with you, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. 34:4 And he hewed 2 tables of stone like to the first, and Moses rose up early in the morning, and went up to Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him, and took in his hand 2 tables of stone. 34:5 And Yahweh descended in the cloud, and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of Yahweh. 34:6 And Yahweh passed by before him, and proclaimed, Yahweh, Yahweh, a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and abundant in loving kindness and truth. 34:7 Keeping loving kindness for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon their children, and upon the children's children, upon the 3rd and upon the 4th generation. 34:8 And Moses made haste, and bowed his head toward the earth, and worshipped. 34:9 And he said, If now I have found favor in your sight, O Lord, let the Lord, I pray you, go in the midst of us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. 34:10 And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels, such as have not been wrought in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which you are shall see the work of Yahweh, for it is a terrible thing that I do with you. 34:11 Observe you that which I command you this day. Behold, I drive out before you the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. 34:12 Take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither you go, lest it be for a snare in the midst of you. 34:13 But ye shall break down their altars, and dash in pieces their pillars, and ye shall cut down their Asherim. 34:14 For you shall worship no other God, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. 34:15 Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they play the harlot after their gods, and sacrifice to their gods, and one call you and you eat of his sacrifice. 34:16 And you take of their daughters to your sons, and their daughters play the harlot after their gods, and make your sons play the harlot after their gods. 34:17 You shall make you no molten gods. 34:18 The feast of unleavened bread shall you keep. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, at the time appointed in the month Abib, for in the month Abib you came out from Egypt. 34:19 All that opens the womb is mine, and all your cattle that is male, the firstlings of cow and sheep. 34:20 And the firstling of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb, and if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. All the firstborn of your sons you shall redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. 34:21 6 days you shall work, But on the seventh day you shall rest in plowing time, and in harvest you shall rest. 34:22 And you shall observe the feast of weeks, even of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. 34:23 3 times in the year shall all your males appear before the Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel. 34:24 For I will cast out nations before you, and enlarge your borders, neither shall any man desire your land, when you go up to appear before Yahweh your God 3 times in the year. 34:25 You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left to the morning. 34:26 The first of the first fruits of your ground you shall bring to the house of Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. 34:27 And Yahweh said to Moses, Write you these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. 34:28 And he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread, nor drank water. And he wrote upon the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. 34:29 And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of the testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses knew not that the skin of his face shone by reason of his speaking with him. 34:30 And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. 34:31 And Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. 34:32 And afterward all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them in commandment all that Yahweh had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. 34:33 And when Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. 34:34 But when Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he took the veil off, until he came out, and he came out, and spoke to the children of Israel that which he was commanded. 34:35 And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, and Moses put the veil upon his face again, until he went in to speak with him. Chapter 35:1 And Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel, and said to them, These are the words which Yahweh has commanded, that ye should do them. 35:2 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of solemn rest to Yahweh. Whosoever does any work therein shall be put to death. 35:3 You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. 35:4 And Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahweh commanded, saying, 35:5 Take ye from among you an offering to Yahweh, whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, Yahweh's offering gold, and silver, and brass. 35:6 And blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair. 35:7 And ram's skins dyed red, and seal skins, and acacia wood. 35:8 And oil for the light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. 35:9 And onyx stones, and stones to be set, for the ephod, and for the breastplate. 35:10 And let every wise-hearted man among you come, and make all that Yahweh has commanded. 35:11 The tabernacle, its tent, and its covering, its clasps, and its boards, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets. 35:12 The ark, and the staves thereof, the mercy seat, and the veil of the screen. 35:13 The table, and its staves, and all its vessels, and the showbread. 35:14 The candlestick also for the light, and its vessels, and its lamps, and the oil for the light. 35:15 And the altar of incense, and its staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the screen for the door, at the door of the tabernacle. 35:16 The altar of burnt offering, with its grating of brass, its staves, and all its vessels, there. Lava and its space. 35:17 The hangings of the court, the pillars thereof, and their sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court. 35:18 The pins of the tabernacle, and the pins of the court, and their cords. 35:19 The finely wrought garments, for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office. 35:20 And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses. 35:21 And they came, every one whose heart stirred him up, and every one whom his spirit made willing, and brought Yahweh's offering, for the work of the tent of meeting, and for all the service thereof, and for the holy garments. 35:22 And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted, and brought brooches, and earrings, and signet rings, and armlets, all jewels of gold, even every man that offered an offering of gold to Yahweh. 35:23 And every man, with whom was found blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram's skins dyed red, and seal skins, brought them. 35:24 Every one that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought Yahweh's offering, and every man, with whom was found acacia wood for any work of the service, brought it. 35:25 And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands, and brought that which they had spun, the blue, and the purple, the scarlet, and the fine linen. 35:26 And all the women whose heart stirred them up in wisdom spun the goat's hair. 35:27 And the rulers brought the onyx stones, and the stones to be set, for the ephod, and for the breastplate. 35:28 And the spice, and the oil, for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. 35:29 The children of Israel brought a freewill offering to Yahweh, every man and woman, whose heart made them willing to bring for all the work, which Yahweh had commanded to be made by Moses. 35:30 And Moses said to the children of Israel, See, Yahweh has called by name Bezalel the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. 35:31 And he has filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship. 35:32 And to devise skillful works, to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass. 35:33 And in cutting of stones for setting, and in carving of wood, to work in all manner of skillful workmanship. 35:34 And he has put in his heart that he may teach, both he, and Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. 35:35 Them has he filled with wisdom of heart, to work all manner of workmanship, of the engraver, and of the skillful workman, and of the embroiderer, in blue, and in purple, in scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any workmanship, and of those that devise skillful works. Chapter 36 1 And Bezalel and Oholiab shall work, and every wise-hearted man, in whom Yahweh has put wisdom and understanding to know how to work all the work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh has commanded. 36:2 And Moses called Bezalel and Oholiab, and every wise-hearted man, in whose heart Yahweh had put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred him up to come to the work to do it. 36:3 And they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, with which to make it. And they brought yet to him freewill offerings every morning. 36:4 And all the wise men, that wrought all the work of the sanctuary, came every man from his work which they wrought. 36:5 And they spoke to Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahweh commanded to make. 36:6 And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing. 36:7 For the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. 36:8 And all the wise-hearted men among them that wrought the work made the tabernacle with 10 curtains, of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, with cherubim, the work of the skillful workman. Bezalel made them. 36:9 The length of each curtain was 8 and 20 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains had one measure. 36:10 And he coupled 5 curtains one to another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one to another. 36:11 And he made loops of blue upon the edge of the one curtain from the selve edge in the coupling. Likewise he made in the edge of the curtain that was outmost in the second coupling. 36:12 50 loops made he in the one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain that was in the second coupling. The loops were opposite one to another. 36:13 And he made 50 clasps of gold, and coupled the curtains one to another with the clasps, so the tabernacle was one. 36:14 And he made curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. 36:15 The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits the breadth of each curtain. The 11 curtains had one measure. 36:16 And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. 36:17 And he made 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that was outmost in the coupling, and 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtain which was outmost in the second coupling. 36:18 And he made 50 clasps of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. 36:19 And he made a covering for the tent of ram's skins dyed red, and a covering of seal skins above. 36:20 And he made the boards for the tabernacle, of acacia wood, standing up. 36:21 10 cubits was the length of a board, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each board. 36:22 Each board had 2 tenons, joined one to another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. 36:23 And he made the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward. 36:24 And he made 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for its 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for its 2 tenons. 36:25 And for the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, he made 20 boards. 36:26 And there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. 36:27 And for the hinder part of the tabernacle westward he made 6 boards. 36:28 And 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle in the hinder part. 36:29 And they were double beneath, and in like manner they were entire to the top thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in the 2 corners. 36:30 And there were 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, under every board 2 sockets. 36:31 And he made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle. 36:32 And 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the hinder part westward. 36:33 And he made the middle bar to pass through in the midst of the boards from the one end to the other. 36:34 And he overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold for places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. 36:35 And he made the veil of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine-twined linen with cherubim, the work of the skillful workman, made he it. 36:36 And he made there 2 4 pillars of acacia, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold, and he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. 36:37 And he made a screen for the door of the tent, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine-twined linen, the work of the embroiderer. 36:38 And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their capitals and their fillets with gold, and their 5 sockets were of brass. Chapter 37 1 And Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. 37:2 And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. 37:3 And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, in the 4 feet thereof, even 2 rings on the one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. 37:4 And he made staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. 37:5 And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the ark, to bear the ark and saw. 37:6 And he made a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. 37:7 And he made 2 cherubim of gold, of beaten work made he them, at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 37:8 1 cherub at the one end, and 1 cherub at the other end of one piece with the mercy seat made he the cherubim at the 2 ends thereof. 37:9 And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces one to another. Toward the mercy seat were the faces of the cherubim. 37:10 And he made the table of acacia wood, 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. 37:11 And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereto a crown of gold round about. 37:12 And he made to it a border of a handbreadth round about, and made a golden crown to the border thereof round about. 37:13 And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that were on the 4 feet thereof. 37:14 Close by the border were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. 37:15 And he made the staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold, to bear the table. 37:16 And he made the vessels which were upon the table, the dishes thereof, and the spoons thereof, and the bowls thereof, and the flagons thereof, with which to pour out, of pure gold. 37:17 And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work made he the candlestick, even its space, and its shaft, its cups, its bulbs, and its flowers, were of one piece with it. 37:18 And there were 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of their candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of their other side thereof. 37:19 3 cups made like almond blossoms in one branch, a bulb and a flower, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a bulb and a flower, so for the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. 37:20 And in the candlestick were 4 cups made like almond blossoms, the bulbs thereof, and the flowers thereof. 37:21 And a bulb under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bulb under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bulb under 2 branches of one piece with it, for the 6 branches going out of it. 37:22 Their bulbs and their branches were of one piece with it, the whole of it was one beaten work of pure gold. 37:23 And he made the lamps thereof, 7, and the snuffers thereof, and the snuff dishes thereof, of pure gold. 37:24 Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. 37:25 And he made the altar of incense of acacia wood, a cubit was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height thereof. The horns thereof were of one piece with it. 37:26 And he overlaid it with pure gold, the top thereof, and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it, and he made to it a crown of gold round about. 37:27 And he made for it 2 golden rings under the crown thereof, upon the 2 ribs thereof, upon the 2 sides of it, for places for staves with which to bear it. 37:28 And he made the staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. 37:29 And he made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, after the hour of the perfumer. Chapter 38. 38:1 And he made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood, 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof, 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. 38:2 And he made the horns thereof upon the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with brass. 38:3 And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, the flesh hooks, and the fire pans, all the vessels thereof made he of brass. 38:4 And he made for the altar a grating of network of brass, under the ledge round it beneath, reaching halfway up. 38:5 And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grating of brass, to be places for the staves. 38:6 And he made the staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with brass. 38:7 And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar, with which to bear it. He made it hollow with planks. 38:8 And he made the lava of brass, and the base thereof of brass, of the mirrors of the ministering women that ministered at the door of the tent of meeting. 38:9 And he made the court for the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. 38:10 Their pillars were 20, and their sockets 20, of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. 38:11 And for the north side 100 cubits. Their pillars 20, and their sockets 20, of brass. The hooks of the pillars, and their fillets, of silver. 38:12 And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits. Their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars, and their fillets, of silver. 38:13 And for the east side eastward 50 cubits. 38:14 The hangings for the one side of the gate were 15 cubits. Their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. 38:15 And so for the other side on this hand and that hand by the gate of the court were hangings of 15 cubits. Their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. 38:16 All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen. 38:17 And the sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars, and their fillets, of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals, of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. 38:18 And the screen for the gate of the court was the work of the embroiderer, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, and 20 cubits was the length, and their height in the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. 38:19 And their pillars were 4, and their sockets 4, of brass, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals, and their fillets, of silver. 38:20 And all the pins of the tabernacle, and of the court round about, were of brass. 38:21 This is the sum of the things for the tabernacle, even the tabernacle of the testimony, as they were counted, according to the commandment of Moses, for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Itamar, the son of Aaron the priest. 38:22 And Bezalel the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that Yahweh commanded Moses. 38:23 And with him was Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver, and a skillful workman, and an embroiderer in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and in fine linen. 38:24 All the gold that was used for the work in all the work of the sanctuary, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and 730 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. 38:25 And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,775 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. 38:26 A bikur head, that is, half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that passed over to them that were numbered, from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. 38:27 And the 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets for the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. 38:28 And of the 1,775 shekels he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their capitals, and made fillets for them. 38:29 And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. 38:30 And with it he made the sockets to the door of the tent of meeting, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grating for it, and all the vessels of the altar. 38:31 And the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the gate of the court, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Chapter 39 1 And of the blue, and purple, and scarlet, they made finely wrought garments, for ministering in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:2 And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. 39:3 And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen, the work of the skillful workman. 39:4 They made shoulder pieces for it, joined together, at the two ends was it joined together. 39:5 And the skillfully woven band, that was upon it, with which to gird it on, was of the same piece and like the work thereof, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:6 And they wrought the onyx stones, enclosed in settings of gold, graven with the engravings of a signet, according to the names of the children of Israel. 39:7 And he put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, to be stones of memorial for the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:8 And he made the breastplate, the work of the skillful workman, like the work of the ephod, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. 39:9 It was foursquare. They made the breastplate double, a span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being double. 39:10 And they set in it 4 rows of stones. A row of sardius, topaz, and carbuncle was the first row. 39:11 And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. 39:12 And the third row, a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. 39:13 And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in enclosings of gold in their settings. 39:14 And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one according to his name, for the 12 tribes. 39:15 And they made upon the breastplate chains like cords, of wreathen work of pure gold. 39:16 And they made 2 settings of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. 39:17 And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. 39:18 And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they put on the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, in the foreparts thereof. 39:19 And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the edge thereof, which was toward the side of the ephod inward. 39:20 And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath, in the foreparts thereof, close by the coupling thereof, above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. 39:21 And they did bind the breastplate by the rings thereof to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be upon the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:22 And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue. 39:23 And the whole of the robe in the midst thereof, as the whole of a coat of mail, with a binding round about the whole of it, that it should not be rent. 39:24 And they made upon the skirts of the robe pomegranates of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and twined linen. 39:25 And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the skirts of the robe round about, between the pomegranates. 39:26 A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, upon the skirts of the robe round about, to minister in, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:27 And they made the coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron, and for his sons. 39:28 And the mitre of fine linen, and the goodly head tires of fine linen, and the linen breeches of fine twined linen. 39:29 And the girdle of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, the work of the embroiderer, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:30 And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing, like the engravings of a signet, holy to Yahweh. 39:31 And they tied to it a lace of blue, to fasten it upon the mitre above, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 39:32 Thus was finished all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses, so did they. 39:33 And they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent, and all its furniture, its clasps, its boards, its bars, and its pillars, and its sockets. 39:34 And the covering of ram's skins dyed red, and the covering of seal skins, and the veil of the screen. 39:35 The ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat. 39:36 The table, all the vessels thereof, and the showbread. 39:37 The pure candlestick, the lamps thereof, even the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for the light. 39:38 And the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the screen for the door of the tent. 39:39 The brazen altar, and its grating of brass, its staves, and all its vessels, the laver and its space. 39:40 The hangings of the court, its pillars, and its sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the cords thereof, and the pins thereof, and all the instruments of the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of meeting. 39:41 The finely wrought garments for ministering in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office. 39:42 According to all that Yahweh commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did all the work. 39:43 And Moses saw all the work, and, behold, they had done it, as Yahweh had commanded, even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. Chapter 40:41 And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, 42 On the first day of the first month shall you rear up the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. 43 And you shall put therein the ark of the testimony, and you shall screen the ark with the veil. 44 And you shall bring in the table, and set in order the things that are upon it, and you shall bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. 45 And you shall set the golden altar for incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the screen of the door to the tabernacle. 46 And you shall set the altar of burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. 47 And you shall set the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, and shall put water therein. 48 And you shall set up the court round about, and hang up the screen of the gate of the court. 49 And you shall take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shall hallow it, and all the furniture thereof, and it shall be holy. 40:10 And you shall anoint the altar of burnt offering, and all its vessels, and sanctify the altar, and the altar shall be most holy. 40:11 And you shall anoint the laver and its space, and sanctify it. 40:12 And you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of meeting, and shall wash them with water. 40:13 And you shall put upon Aaron the holy garments, and you shall anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister to me in the priest's office. 40:14 And you shall bring his sons, and put coats upon them. 40:15 And you shall anoint them, as you anointed their father, that they may minister to me in the priest's office, and their anointing shall be to them for an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. 40:16 Thus did Moses according to all that Yahweh commanded him, so did he. 40:17 And it came to pass in the first month in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. 40:18 And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and laid its sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up its pillars. 40:19 And he spread the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:20 And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. 40:21 And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the screen, and screened the ark of the testimony, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:22 And he put the table in the tent of meeting, upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. 40:23 And he set the bread in order upon it before Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:24 And he put the candlestick in the tent of meeting, over against the table, on the side of the tabernacle southward. 40:25 And he lighted the lamps before Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:26 And he put the golden altar in the tent of meeting before the veil. 40:27 And he burnt upon it incense of sweet spices, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:28 And he put the screen of the door to the tabernacle. 40:29 And he set the altar of burnt offering at the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meal offering, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:30 And he set the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water therein, with which to Washington. 40:31 And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. 40:32 When they went into the tent of meeting, and when they came near to the altar, they washed, as Yahweh commanded Moses. 40:33 And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the screen of the gate of the court. So Moses finished the work. 40:34 Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. 40:35 And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of meeting, because the cloud remained above it, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. 40:36 And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward, throughout all their journeys. 40:37 But if the cloud was not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. 40:38 For the cloud of Yahweh was upon the tabernacle by day, and there was fire therein by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel, throughout all their journeys. End of Exodus.